Triple E EDC back again with another knife video. This is the Berg Blades Golem. As a couple of you seen, this is a knife that I'm selling, but overall I actually really love this knife. I just end up having to move a lot of stuff from my channel to keep new knives coming in, but I really do love this knife. It is discontinued, but I'm gonna go ahead and make a knife video anyway, because there's not a whole lot out there on the Golem, and I'd love for people to be able to get introduced to Berg Blades. They do make one of my favorite knives, the Berg Blades Iron Wolf, and both of these knives, the Iron Wolf and the Golem, are made by We Knives in China, and so but they're made by or designed by Matt Westberg, and he does a couple other models as well. The Berg Blades Slim, which is basically a smaller version of the Golem. And so if you like the Slim and you want something bigger, definitely check out the Golem. But let's go ahead and talk about this knife. And let's start out with some size comparisons. First of all, with this Iron Wolf here, let's go ahead and do the Steelcraft Todd Begg Bodega. Let's go ahead and take a look at this against the Medford full-size Marauder. So you can see this is not a small knife. It's actually fairly big. This is the ZT-0308. And this is the Civivi Bull Mastiff. Very big knife from Civivi. And just so you get an idea of how big this is, here's a Benchmade 940. So you can see it's actually not that much longer than the 940. It's pretty much the same dimensions lengthwise, except for, you know, a little bit of bunning out here on the end. However, it is much taller, much thicker. The blade is, I mean, you could fit 1, 2, 3 blades from the 940 in there. So, and then everyone's favorite size comparisons, the Spyderco Para 3 and the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. No, this isn't a Paramilitary 2, but this is the same size as a Paramilitary 2. This is a Benchmade Super Freak. I'm in between Paramilitary 2s at the moment. Anyway, let's go ahead and do the good and the bad on this. So first of all, one of the things that's awesome about this is the action. You've got to love the action on this thing. It just falls shut because the blade is heavy. I mean, the blade is so heavy. It's like it's a cleaver style blade, and it just falls shut on this. It's on bearings. Like pretty much all of We knives are on bearings. It's got the ceramic bearings and got that nice, really nice We action. Also, by the way, this is a customized version of this knife, so, and it obviously is heavily used. It's well loved, I should say. I did get this on the secondary market, so this is not factory, and so, you know, some of the things that I'm going to talk about in the video today I probably should have started with that disclaimer, is that this is not factory. It's been acid washed the blade, and there's been some alterations anodizing to the titanium here as well. But this is an all titanium body with the two different types of titanium here, or two different colors of titanium, same type of titanium. And then you've got the acid washed S35 VN blade. Pretty much everything he makes, with very few exceptions, is either S35VN or M390. This is S35VN. Like I said, good steel. It's on the, you know, We bearings. The steel on this S35VN is a very good steel. It has a nice balance of edge retention, corrosion resistance, and corrosion resistance and toughness. And you know, M390 may have a little bit better balance all around, but this is also easier to sharpen than M390. So a lot of people prefer S35V and M390. I think they, you know, each have their merits, and both are great. So you're good on the steel here. As far as ergonomics go, I would say ergonomics on this are a 7 out of 10. They actually are pretty comfortable. One reason they're comfortable is the jimping here, and the curvature really locks in your thumb here, and you've got a good place for your finger to go, your pointer finger to go here. You also have a great feeling on the back end of security here with your pinky and how full everything is in your hand back here. However, the placement of the hump here and the fact that it feels like it should be a little thicker here are two reasons why this knife doesn't get any higher than a 7 out of 10 on ergonomics. Overall, the grind on here is pretty nice on the blade. It is a flat grind, but because it has so much time or so much space to fall and get thinner and thinner and thinner, the edge is surprisingly thin on this, and it slices incredibly well. So, you know, usually for a knife this size, you're going to think it's not going to slice that well. It actually slices incredibly well, mainly due to the fact that you have a good long way for this to thin out. It starts thinning out about right here in the blade. It's hard to see because of the acid wash, but you can probably see it in this angle with the line. That is where it starts thinning out, so you have a lot of space that goes down there, and especially toward the tip. The clip on here is a nice milled titanium clip. I'm going to start with the clip being good for the knife or good clip for overall, but now I'm going to move into the bad and say that this clip is a little bit disappointing because I wish it was a little bit higher up. You have a lot of knife sticking out of your pocket, basically about this much knife, and the fact that part of the blade sticks out in addition to the back of the knife, the handle, you're going to have a lot visible to people as you are carrying the knife. Also on this, the round hole here or oval hole here, since Spyderco has a monopoly on the round holes, this oval hole, while it's nicely chamfered and definitely fits the hand well, it's sized in such a way that your fingers sort of can get caught in there, and and because it's oval and not round, it doesn't go up like, here, let me grab a pair of 3, where did I put that? So when your thumb gets in the pair of 3, you can move it around because it's perfectly round, and it just continues going out. Here, if your finger gets caught in the hole and it goes up, it just sort of stays here and won't go all the way up because it's caught. So it's just not an ideal way to open this, and you can use the Spidey Flick method of opening this. It works very well, but you do have those times where, you know, when you're rolling out with your thumb, that it feels like it's getting caught a little bit. It's also just a wide grip, so you can see how wide you have to hold this in order to get to the hole here, and whereas here, you know, you're back up against the handle. So the entirety of the handle here is about where the hole begins, as you can see here. In addition, the hardware on here I think was a little bit unimaginative. I wish the hardware was a little bit nicer on this. It's one of the things that I don't necessarily love because it's the same type of hardware on the Berg Blades Iron Wolf. But it also has an understated presence that I think is okay as well. But when you're paying as much money as these cost, I do expect something a little bit more, which brings me to another part of the downside of this, which is the price. So the price on these were around $300, $350, something like that, but when they were for sale. But you know, you're going to end up paying anywhere from $350 to $450 now for one of these in good condition. I let this go for a little bit less than that because obviously it is scratched up pretty nicely, but you can see these on the secondary market from $350 to $450 a lot of the time, and you know, sometimes even higher with trade values. So I do think the price is a little high on these. A lot of what we makes is in the $250 range, and so this is a little bit high. Back when these were made, we was still getting its footing under it as far as solidifying its pricing. So, you know, the fact that these were $300 or $325 or whatever they were back when they were for sale, this was the very high end of what we was charging back then. Now, you know, people wouldn't blink at a $300 Wii knife, but, you know, it's just something to think about. Overall, this is a great knife if you're into big chunky knives. I would recommend it to people if you like the cleaver style and you like a chunky knife. I will say this, that when I got the Medford Marauder, I found that I carried the Marauder much more often than I carry the Golem, which is one of the reasons I decided to let this go, despite the fact that this is actually a heavier knife than this. So the fact that the Marauder is heavier and thicker and does not cut as well as the Golem, and I carried it more, is just something to keep in mind when you're looking to get your own Golem. Also keep in mind as well that I am a huge fan of the Berg Blades Iron Wolf, and so for me to let go of a Berg Blades, the Golem sort of became a little bit of a grail for me, and the fact that I'm letting it go should tell you, that while I enjoyed it and while it's a very good knife, it's not a knife I think that a lot of people are going to keep in their long-term collections when they have to make some hard decisions on what to let go. Just keep that in mind when you're buying it. I hope this helps everyone. If you enjoy the video, go ahead and drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know if you have the Golem, what you think about it, if you have the Slim or the Iron Wolf or Iron Pup. I'm just interested to hear in general what people have to say about Berg Blades. But if you found this helpful, also hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you get all my content, and see you guys in the next video. Got to see that action one more time. Thank you.